Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you for joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I had to think about it for a second because I have no idea what's happening. You have a piece of fuzz on you. Uh-oh.
That was for later.
Is it? All right. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Go find us on all those things I just mentioned. There you go.
We might be there, we might not.
We're there.
You never know.
We're everywhere. All right, we have movies to talk about. Whoop whoop. Can I get a what? No, you're supposed to give me a what?
Oh, you got a burp.
Lord
instead.
have mercy. All right, we're gonna talk about movies. We have a random collection of things to talk about, as always. Are you okay if we start here?
Wherever
all right. Okay, friends. We are talking about The Legend of Gatotkaca. And it is a Hiya original.
Sort of.
Kind of.
Oh, yeah. Hiya original.
This is original.
Yeah.
But is it on Hiya? Can I watch it on
No,
Hiya?
it is on Hiya.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
I was making the same reference. Is it really a martial arts thing? But it is kind of. It is and it isn't all at the same time.
Okay. But I went and looked up the Gatotkaca. And there are a couple of legends about it. It's based on an actual legend. The movie, of course, is a movie. But the legend was that there was, I guess, this hero of the people. And
was it a hero in a half shell?
Turtle power. But he was called Gatotkaca because Mugato or something meant that he was bald. And Kacha was that he was the shape of a pot. So he was a bald man, the shape of a pot.
None of that is in this.
None of that's in this, but just FYI, it was a real legend or person.
A very sad legend if that's the legend.
Existed. No, but he helped the people, babe.
What do you do? Sell him pot?
No, babe. He was a
bald?
big deal.
He was the bald guy that ran around.
Oh my gosh. No, it was this guy right here.
He was a big like a pot.
Well, that's what it said. Anyway.
Excuse me. He's the hero of the people.
Gatam is the pot in Uchaka. Anyways, he was this big dude just going around.
Is he related to the guy from Land of the Lost?
He is not.
Oh.
Anyways, tell me about
the legend. You saw most of it.
Yeah, so basically, it kind of goes flashbacks to an older time where a lady, I guess, calls on the power of her ancestors to save her and her child from these bad guys that are coming to get them.
And pretty much every superhero story ever.
Yeah, pretty much. So with that, it creates some sort of magical barrier and then creates this, I guess, is it a seal or a dime thing? Like a pendant. No, but like a seal or a pendant.
It's got a very Power Rangers vibe
through the generations that can give people power if you're of the correct bloodline.
Yeah, it's got a very Power Rangers vibe too. Like even when he changes it at some point, he like holds it and he punches it. So it's almost like the old ones where the Power Rangers doing this and shoots and flips and whatever. The movie's fine. It's an origin story, so it takes a long time to get to the meat of stuff, and I think it's longer than it needed to be.
That's what I was gonna say. I felt like it was a little bit long because we ended up watching it, I guess, in 2 parts.
Yeah, because we were watching it that night. I fell asleep.
You did.
So you stopped it.
Yeah, and then
I went back and watched it on Hiya. Because I had to get the review done. Excuse me, sorry, but I don't think you finished it yet. But
I didn't. But that's okay.
That's kind of par for the course for a lot of Asian films. They usually have long run times. It's a lot of build up of the characters and all this stuff that sometimes it's necessary. This one, it felt like a lot of.
It just felt really long, and then finally, when you were starting to get tired, when they were finally the kids came together and figuring out the legends and the bloodlines and all this, and they were kind of doing the big reveal of how it works and stuff,
Yeah,
the origins and how does it work and the powers and all that.
It's also one of those that
it took a long time to get there.
He's in kind of a makeshift suit for a little bit. It's not really the suit you see in the image. So the imagery that you see in the poster art, which is the actual full-on super suit, is only in like the last 5-10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, which is too bad.
So it's all that big setup. Now I'm finally the hero character, whatever, and then it kind of leaves you as not a cliffhanger, but like a setup to the next thing. So clearly they're planning on to do more. The movie was fine. It wasn't as excitingly cool as I thought it was from the trailer was going to be. But that's because of the length. All that cool stuff just takes a while for it to happen.
Yeah, it did feel a little longer.
And for fans of the Raid, it does have a couple of the guys from the Raid in it, which was cool. But so that both what's his name, Yayan Ruhian, I believe that's how you say his name. He's the one I really like the most.
Is he the shorter guy?
He's like the bad guy.
Like, what's that? I'm like, is that that guy?
Yeah, he's the guy that fights like the two main guys for like an hour and a half.
Yes, and he's moving though. He was like the entire time.
He has a lot of good fights in the movie and stuff too. Yeah. He plays a major character, and so it's that element. It's like if you're a fan of the Raid, like that was something to look forward to, is seeing these guys. But at the end, the movie's not bad, but it's not great. It's just something. It's growing, so it's something that I think could be really great franchise.
Maybe if they take it from here now, he's in the suit. He's got his little group of friends that kind of helped him figure it out. You know, the guy and the girl that are like his little friends.
Yeah, because it's interesting, and it's not a bad movie. It's a good movie to watch. It's just like I said, it's such slow pace and takes so long to get to it that it's kind of like on some of the other origin films that it's usually going to be a lot more entertaining once we've got the hero and can be the hero and do things and a lot more stuff, and we're not back and forth and all the struggles of trying to become it and find it and all that stuff gets repetitive sometimes. So it's hopefully there's another one to really let them expand and have some fun with it. But if not, then I guess the legend you get to see once, and then you don't get any more legends.
But you know what? And I'm glad because this is Indonesian, right? Yeah. So I'm glad they're at least getting to explore and make a superhero based on their own legends, so that we can learn something. You know, at least
I learned
in the very end
that
if it's only
there's
one.
Power Rangers in every country.
Correct. There you go.
Anyway, the Legend of Gatotkaca.
It's Gatotkaca. Gatotkaca. I looked it up to make sure I was saying it right.
The Legend of Chaka from Land of the Lost Cousin.
Chaka.
It's available now on Blu-ray and DVD as well as you can watch it on the Hi-Ya streaming service.
And if
you don't know about the Hi-Ya streaming service, it costs like $3-4 a month. Logo USA put it out a year or so ago, 2 years ago, however long it's been. But not only does it put the movies that they put out, but it has a lot of other Asian cinema, like old school.
Tons.
When Taekwondo Strikes with Jun Rhee and some old Cynthia Rothrock, some old Michelle Yeoh, old Jackie Chan, Jet Li, all kinds of stuff on there. Horror, martial arts, a little bit of everything. Yeah. So check it out. I pay for it every month.
And be careful with your hi-yas, because we found out our granddaughter's been hi-yaing things.
Yeah. And never go outside alone with your hoo-ya.
Wow. Okay.
Moving on.
We're going here. Okay, friends.
So the next one is a sequel of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiritual sequel. The director, Anish Shiganti, I think it's how you say his name. I apologize if I said it right. Did the movie in 2018 called Searching with John Cho, which made up of like all kinds of different camera footage of cell phones and drones and news footage and webcams and dash cams and whatever kind of cam they could come up with to shoot this movie that essentially just uses technology to tell the story of this guy that was searching for stuff. And the movie
at the time, I thought it was just so creative. Yeah, I was like, this is so cool.
It was well done. It was creative. It was way more interesting than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be annoying.
Yeah.
Because typical found footage style stuff, which that's not what this is, can be repetitive and can be redundant. And you start thinking like, okay, this makes no sense. And some of that stuff is in these movies, but it's so much more clever in the way they're crafting it that it's not always just, hey, there's going to happen to be a camera in this bathroom, and that's where we happen to see them, so we just move to the bathroom camera. And these films are actually part of the story on why they're using it. So you spend a lot of time looking at computer screens and chats and text messages and stuff like that. And they can easily get lost on itself, but I thought it did well. Is that a dog?
Yeah, I don't know why our dog's barking. Something's out there.
Hold on. Sabine, come here. So anyway, since then, is recently put out the new film called Missing.
Yes.
Which really...
Let me go check on this.
Missing, starring Storm Reed and Nia Long. This time around, Will Merrick and Nick Johnson, who I believe were editors on Searching, as well as this other film they did called Run, which we're going to kind of dive into in a minute. But The movie Run was a Hulu film that we also watched and we're going to talk about. And they're all kind of taking place in the same universe. So it's interesting how they're all connected, but they're also all their own individual films.
Correct.
Did she save our lives?
I think she did. There, I don't know what was trying to get us. She's gonna go find it again, but I have no choice.
So anyway, I mentioned Run as well.
Yes, which
not
we'll
DMC.
Talk about.
DMC is not a part of it.
We'll talk about in a second.
So Missing is a story of a young girl whose mom goes on vacation with her new boyfriend or whatever he is, her new beau, and then she has to go pick her up. She doesn't show up, and in turn becomes her. Basically, the same plot of the first film of her trying to find her mom as opposed to the daughter, and a lot of things, unanswered questions and interesting things, and so we take a dive into her situation.
Correct. I thought this one was really creative too, because we're like, okay, it's going to be the same thing as the John Cho movie, and it is in a way, but now we have more technology being used because we have like the Ring doorbell cameras, we have cameras inside the house, like security cameras, and she's really more
technologically savvy.
Yes,
where he didn't know how to do anything
because he got on the little girl's Mac, but it was basically like figure out the password. She's
a teenager, so she knows all this.
She knows. She's like hacking emails and getting into secret websites and downloading programs.
And on the surface, that sounds like, oh right, whatever. But she's going on to like Yahoo or Google and how do you do this? And then there's the website that tells you how to do it. Yeah,
putting all the pieces together, and she lives very much like I do, where my phone's connected to my iPad's connected to my watch, to my tablet, like everything's connected.
Yeah.
So one device connects to all the others, and that actually becomes an advantage.
That's a main plot.
If you're an Apple user, that everything does connect, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In a way. And then for people that don't like it,
it's annoying that it's everything connecting because it affects other things sometimes. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting about away from the movie, this movie, is how they connect it to the other movies, and we're going to kind of tell you how, because that's not really a spoiler.
Correct.
The movie Run, which is on Hulu.
Hold on.
We're about to get there. We'll talk about it as a separate film, but it's connected to this movie by a blink and you'll miss it situation.
Here we go. This is the poster we need.
Is what?
This is the poster you need right here.
And it's connected by a news article, whereas you see a little news clip thing that basically tells you kind of what happened to one of the characters after the Run. After the movie.
From Run, yes.
Yeah. So it's not important to the plot point of Missing. It's just kind of that shared fun thing. Hey, wait a minute, I know who that is, and oh, that's what's happening over there. They're probably not going to do anything else with it. It was just kind of to add to it.
But it's fun, and it took us down this track where like Missing, oh, that was related to the Searching movie. And then you were like, oh, wait, there's another movie that's connected. So that's all we did yesterday afternoon. It was a lot of fun, actually.
We watched one and then we watched the other one.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But you know what I thought was really interesting, even in all three movies in Run, which I'm sad we kind of watched it out of order and we missed it. But when it came out a couple years ago.
We may still not have noticed. That's how quick it is.
I know, but the interesting thing to me, I guess, just close the door.
You bark.
Ruff. You're gonna say. Oh my Lord. Sorry, we have dogs. I thought the interesting thing with all three movies was the importance that technology does play in all of our lives. Everything is interconnected, and I think, people complain about the interconnectivity of all the Apple devices, but in a way, we need it, and it becomes important in the movie Run, the dependence we have on technology, what happens when you don't have it.
I'm back.
So the other thing that I thought was really
Cat
cool
is out there.
In Missing as opposed to Searching, like you said, she's more into technology. She's more there's not an English word for this.
There's an English word for whatever it is you're trying to do all
this stuff, but also the ability now that there are cameras all over the world that we could watch. Like you could go watch a camera right now at some other beach in a different country. You can.
Well, like there's a moment in the movie too where they're like a lot of those satellite things, where like she links to try to find something, and she's like talking to somebody else that's on the other side of the world, and when you link to the satellite, she's like, "Wait a minute, wave." And he waves, and she's like, "Look, I can see you," just from her laptop in a matter of seconds.
You can do Earth Cam. It's webcam network.
The neighborhood cams,
Skyline cams all over the world. Yeah. I mean, you can do any of these things, and that ends up becoming helpful.
This is one of those kind of movies that
I just thought it was so
clever.
smart.
if you use it right.
Yeah.
And they did it smart. And she essentially has to carry the movie because
yeah, she does.
even though Nia Long is probably the more famous of the people in the
this
movie,
little girl was good.
She's not in most of the movie because she's the person missing. So
Right.
this girl does a good job at kind of flowing with the emotions and the visual trauma because she has to start off being kind of a snooty teenager and then go through that mental anguish of her losing her parent, but then also trying to figure out what's going on, and then the mystery, and then as she starts discovering things, being like, what?
Well, and then you see her just do stupid teenager stuff, and they're like, let's have a party, yeah, and I'm like, you're gonna need that later, and not even remember that you did this. It's like so dumb what we know now, but I liked that she's so smart with technology because she's kind of not there yet in her real life and her friends. She's very easily swayed by her teenager friends doing dumb things. So I thought it was I really enjoyed this movie. I would watch it all over again. I want to watch all three of them.
My only issue is these kind of movies is I think they're still interesting, but I do feel they're ones that may not hold as strong once you know the outcome. It's that kind of thing. It's still interesting. It's still a good movie. I don't know if I would sit and watch them again unless I was preparing to watch another one of the films if they make one. Because it's kind of once you know the plot twist and once you know the twist, it loses a little bit of the excitement because that's kind of what you're trying to figure out. And this one, I think there are elements of this movie that are predictable, but they also do a very good job of leading you to believe something and then taking a left turn away from it. And then like, oh crap, I was completely wrong. And then it comes back and like, well, maybe I wasn't wrong. And there's a lot of that in there, which then makes it a lot more fun and entertaining to watch.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah. It's good.
Check it out.
It'll be available this week on Tuesday on Blu-ray and DVD, and it's already on digital, and it's on Prime Video already. So if you don't want to buy it, but you have Prime Video, you can watch it today.
There you go. All right. So then let's talk about kind of the third movie. It says also from the producers and directors of Searching.
This was probably really the second movie. This came out in
2020
or 2022.
2020, I believe.
I don't remember.
I'll go find it.
It basically was a Hulu original. It was supposed to be a theatrical release.
2020.
Yeah, it was a theatrical release. It was another one that got lost with the COVID. It got picked up on Hulu. I need
to fix that. You can't see the tagline. It says, you can't escape your mother's love.
Yeah. Now, this movie is a completely different kind of movie than these other two. This is not a footage thing. This is more of a traditional shot, kind of thriller, drama, kind of thing.
It's a little Mommy Dearest in a way.
Yeah,
with
but Stockholm a little syndromes bit, and all kinds of stuff. And
so immediately you were like Stockholm, and I was like Munchausen, and we're like, they're both crazy. Like, and it's trying to figure it out. So basically, it's a mom and her daughter that live together. The daughter's very ill. The beginning of the movie tells us she has asthma, paralysis in her leg. She has severe eczema. She has like something else. She's got like 4 or 5 different illnesses that we believe are lifelong illnesses, and she has to take all these different medications, and her mom, takes care of her. And you were in because it has an electric wheelchair staircase thing.
Yeah, it's so you were in. It's not the one that you normally sit on and raise you. It's like a platform. You wheel your wheelchair onto it, and then it lowers. I'm like, I love this because we have wheelchairs. Something's going to happen with that machine at some point.
We knew it.
But yeah, this one, even though it's in the same universe, it's another one of those that it's a self-contained story. It has nothing to do with the other 2 movies, just like the other ones. But it's a blink and you'll miss it connection. So in this one, there's a moment where she opens her computer and you see a stock photo, and it's the same stock photo that's used in Searching when they make a fake profile for somebody. So you're seeing that they're kind of connected. Now, there's no connection to Missing from this movie because Missing didn't exist yet.
Right. But Missing has a connection to this.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, and then Missing also connects to Searching. So it's interesting how they keep layering it and being something all on its own, but also part of its extended universe, if you will.
Yeah.
What we need to do is we need to get all the characters that survived and have them all be in a movie called Found. And they're all just in therapy together.
Anyways, I thought this was good. I think Sarah Paulson's good at being.
You hate her though.
but it doesn't matter. But she's good at this weird character that's on the verge of insanity, but it's through the lens of love. She loves you to death, literally.
Well, she's really good on that Nurse Ratched show.
That's what I'm saying, because she has that appearance of just being so sweet and loving, but then that underlayer of darkness. So we can't tell you everything that happens. But obviously, based on that description, there's something weird going on with her and her daughter.
Is she the one dating
and her
Vanessa
illness?
Redgrave or something?
Yeah, she's with Vanessa Redgrave. But the illness, and the daughter begins to suspect that her mom's doing something weird with her medication, and that leads to one thing to another thing, and they kind of become embroiled in this heated argument of, I'm trying to take care of you, and she's like, no, I don't believe you. So it's this back and forth, and at a certain point, you don't really know who to believe. Is the daughter really going, a little crazy or hallucinating because of the medication, or is the mother really giving her things that she shouldn't? So it kind of goes back and forth, and I thought it was a really good story.
Yeah, and it's another case of, like, I kind of figured out early on what I thought was happening.
Yes, you did.
But again,
But I also figured out one part of it too.
Yeah,
but it was a little different.
It's another one that weaves a good story that works on both sides, and even while it may be predictable at times, it's still compelling enough, and then takes some twists and turns that keeps you kind of in on it, and makes you sympathetic for everybody, even though some of the people don't deserve it. You kind of understand.
You understand,
but you don't at the same time. So it's worth checking out. Like I said, you don't have to watch one without the other.
Correct.
But we decided to go ahead and bring in Run to the Thing. Despite not bringing in DMC, we would just jump in there, and it's an older movie. But now you have Missing on Prime. You've got Run on Hulu, and I have no idea what Searching is. We'll just say Paramount Plus.
Wow.
I don't think it is. It's probably on Prime as well.
But the actual order is Searching, Run, Missing.
Yes.
So I would check them all out. I'd recommend all
If you haven't watched them and want to watch them, then watch all three in that order. That way you'll start seeing the Easter eggs of the next movies. And because they're so subtle, if you don't, if you wait a long time apart, you may actually miss them.
Searching is available on Hulu.
Oh, okay. So Searching and
Run.
You just stay on Hulu for 2 movies, and then jump on over to Prime and watch the other one.
There you go.
But yeah, if you wait, like I might not have ever noticed the connection to Searching and Run had we not just been revisiting everything.
Correct.
And obviously we didn't see Run, so we didn't notice the connection and Missing at all until I started looking at it, because I had read that there was going to be a trilogy. I don't know if Run is part of that trilogy. I think there's going to be a different one that's part of Searching and Missing.
I'm posting links to things, and I'm thinking I put them all in wrong order.
I think it just happens to be.
I put them in the wrong order.
So anyway, but Missing, as we said, is available now on Prime. It'll be next week on Blu-ray and DVD.
There you go. Okay.
Moving right along. What was that Muppet song? Is that right?
Yes. Okay. The one where they're driving?
Yeah, they're moving along, or moving right along, or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, who cares?
Okay, here we go. We're going here.
Man, this is a
Guess what? Another Hi-Ya.
This is a Well Go USA party. It's another Hi-Ya. So what Well Go does is they release some of these movies, and they're considered Hi-Ya originals, where they debut on Hi-Ya first, and then they get the official release on Blu-ray and DVD. If you don't know who Well Go USA, they're the premier distributor for predominantly Asian cinema. So the next one we got is Code of the Assassins, which is a wuxia. I never could say it right. Wuxia. It's WXIA.
Wushu.
Which is a genre of film of Asian cinema that's using like the martial arts type stuff, but people have almost like powers and the wire work and the people that fly around and all kinds of stuff. But it's almost a superhero martial artist, but it's not superheroes. That makes sense?
Yes. Where's Missing? Sorry.
Huh?
Where did you say Missing was? It's starting to play on.
It's on Prime.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway.
Sorry.
So anyway.
I love the wire work.
Yeah. So this latest one is essentially the story of, it's kind of a murder mystery.
Yeah, it's a whodunit.
Martial arts flicks, because you're dealing with this group of assassins and the kingdoms and all kind of the stereotype stuff. But the thing is you're really trying to discover who is the person behind the golden mask, which is like this head of this assassin guild kind of thing. And there's this person can be it, this person can be it. There's people with masks, and there's people with like Mission Impossible style masks, where it's like the skin masks.
Yes, where they're master
of disguise.
Disguise. It literally says that.
It's all that stuff, and you also have to. This is definitely one because one of the things I love about some of these types of martial arts flicks is the creative weaponry and stuff they create. But you do have to put a little disbelief aside and buy into some of this stuff, because in this one they kind of have this mechanical steampunk meets like inner workings of a watch kind of mechanics for this guy's arm and this other guy's body plates. So he's like can shoot his fist off with a wire. He can this thing in the palm of his hand makes a sword, and it's like it's kind of silly, but it's actually awesome to watch.
But then what I loved about this movie was they introduce your characters, and it's like golden mask, and it comes up, and it's like weapon, umbrella, knives.
Yeah.
So it's like umbrella and the knife, and it literally umbrella, but all the knives they go everywhere, And then the one guy, it's like this mask, fist of whatever. I think to me it was half video game, half soap opera drama. It was just so cool.
And it almost took like a variety of almost every weapon that's been put out in martial arts flicks over the years, and created their new versions of them. Like you're talking about the umbrella. There used to be in like Chinese super ninjas. There's ones with like the hats, and they're like the big straw hats, but then they go ching, and the blades pop out, and they throw the hats, and there's the flying guillotine, which is basically throwing a basket with a saw blade on it.
That is the coolest.
It decapitates and brings the head back.
That would not work. Awesome. I mean, the cage might decapitate someone, maybe, but how does it come back?
Because it's on a chain. They pull it back. It didn't fly back.
Okay, I know, but
no. That's the only part of it.
Cut and not bring the whole body with it.
Because it's got a saw blade on the bottom of it, so it's doing this.
I didn't
pay
attention.
Decapitation cage.
The one that was confusing to me was the guy's arm, because at one point you see the arm go out on the chain, but it looks like somebody kind of walked by, so wouldn't it have gotten caught on him and then bounced back?
I didn't see it. I think you just made that up.
No, I didn't.
You're trying to disprove the technology of this film. It is a little bit ridiculous, but it's ridiculous in the best possible way.
It's cool.
It's awesome. There's some great fights. Visually, the movie is beautiful. The CGI stuff, for the most part, is really well done. I love that. It does get a little redundant, but I do love that when he goes to make a weapon or something with his hand, it goes inside and you see all the inner workings. It's almost like watching a transformer transform.
I thought it was cool.
And then it's the sword and the spears and all this stuff. And it's like, where's all this stuff coming from? It's all stored. His arm's only this long of stuff that's starting. It's like building full like staffs and stuff. But
it is.
It's fun. It has all the stuff that you love in these kind of movies if you like it. And it's one of the few in a while that's not super convoluted. It is a little bit, because most of these movies are.
Well, yeah, and you have to keep track of the different houses.
It has what I call the Game of Thrones issue.
Yes, the Ghost Assassins, the Southern Clan, the Eastern whatever, the West whatever. But they do a good job of anytime they take you and they take you through the map and they're like, okay, we are now in the Southern whatever clan.
And it also is a lot of the actors look the same.
Yeah, but they do put everyone. Yeah, because everyone has the high ponytail. Well, it's not even that.
There's like 3 or 4 people that I could.
This guy looked like the other General Chow, and he's not. He
not
was
General Chow, like the restaurant.
No, but that was his name.
Yeah.
But they at least do put titles underneath everyone every time, and like Golden Mask, Super Umbrella, and then they'll have one like whatever Eastern Clan, and
one guy even has wings that spring out at one point,
which I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? I hadn't seen that the whole movie.
It's a cool movie. This movie I would watch again because it was
fun.
I might jump ahead to the actions and stuff now that I know the story, but
I thought it was really cool.
It's a fun movie, man.
It was fun.
I dig this kind of
stuff. I haven't seen anything like kind of this fun in a while, and I will say the wire work is really good, and these people really commit to those landings, because I'm assuming the guys are on the other and they're like, okay, let it go, he's landing.
Yeah, and it depends, because if they're still doing the old school, a lot of them when they do wire work, they still use the people doing it, not necessarily machines, but some of them do machines too. So
and there's a one moment, it was so cliche and I loved it anyway, where they're running on the top of the house, and you could tell someone's holding them because they're like doing the light tap, and then suddenly they stop and look back and you have the full camera pan on them, and then they keep running. I was like, I love it.
That's one of the things that they do with a lot of the old school Asian cinema, especially, but a lot of foreign films do it, where they may update the technology, they may have the visual things, but they've maintained the shots, they maintain the behaviors. Like it's always like there was one I was joking about where the guy's doing his thing and he's doing this thing, and of course, then there's the makes no sense why, but suddenly his hair is being blown
in the wind
because it's being like he's doing this thing and there's no wind. He just suddenly blows. He's not casting a spell. It has no purpose other than just to make him look cool.
Yeah, and then they're like, "I challenge you to a duel by 3 daggers," and suddenly it's like, and I'm like, he pulls out the 3 daggers. He's holding them in his hands, and then he happens to be fighting the guy with a mechanical arm. So he's like, "Okay, 3 daggers," and his hand's spinning with daggers. They're like, "Really? How is this a fair duel?"
I was trying to figure out, as a guy, he has like his throwing star, but he throws the throwing star. It almost looks like the clave from Krull, where it's flying. You have no idea what I'm talking about. No, it's flying, but as it's spinning, then the blades fly out of it. And then he doesn't get it back, so I'm like, "Well, how did you throw it again later? You didn't get it back."
I think he has the blades. I think they have multiple, like shooting out.
I'm so confused. Who's refilling this crap? If not, this guy's just got metal inside his body, just chilling.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's an awesome movie. It's everything I wanted this movie to be from the trailer in this genre, and I had a blast. If you like the wuxia movies, the martial arts flick, you like crazed weapons and
I think this historic time period of the cinema, because everyone's in the cool armor and the cool robes and the hair up and the cool man bun ponytail thing and sword fighting and just all your classic kind of old Asian time period of the clans fighting.
My only issue with the movie is there is one moment, and it's not an issue. It took me a second to find myself back in the movie because it goes this mystical supernatural direction all of a sudden. Remember when it introduced that one character?
Yeah, where's that?
And you're like, what? Because everything, despite it being big and fantastical, it had kind of been grounded in the mechanical stuff and the normal stuff. So it wasn't as supernatural. You could say, okay, this has happened because they explained it away with these machines or whatever. All of a sudden, there's like this supernatural magical element.
He's the ghost assassin.
Yeah, it's cool to watch.
It looked very much like the death things from Harry Potter.
Death Dealers?
No, not Death Dealers. That's from the werewolf movie.
No, I think they're called Death Dealers in Harry Potter as well.
No, they're not. The black things?
Yes, I think that's what they're called.
No. Go keep talking.
I know what you're talking about. The ones on the horses.
The black ghost things. Here they are. Dementors.
Oh, okay. I was close.
Dementors.
Death Dealers had nothing to do with the underworld. That's not what I'm thinking of.
Underworld is what I'm thinking.
Death Dealers has been many things other than
Doesn't
underworld.
matter. But yeah, that's the one thing that was a little mystical in a way. But I was like,
it fit with the story once you get to the bigger.
That was his power.
But it was just like, wait, what? And then you just at this point you're like, you start to question like, well, that's ridiculous. But then you realize what you've been watching all this time before this. You're like, I can believe this should work in this same universe.
Yeah.
Anyway, Code of the Assassins is on Hiya right now streaming, and it will hit on Blu-ray, DVD this week as well on Tuesday from Well Go USA. So check it out. And you could also, if you go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
you could actually enter to win a copy of Code of the Assassins and
you could
Legend of Gatotkaca. What else we got?
All right, we have one more movie.
Nothing else? All right, moving on.
Yeah, nothing really important.
So before we talk about the next film, which is the big film of the weekend, I want to point out this release.
Okay.
Did we talk about this last week?
You mentioned it. I think you showed it, but show it again.
Well, before we talk about it, the next film we're going to be talking about is the latest chapter of Mr. Juan Wick. The John Wick Chapter 4. And so in celebration of John Wick Chapter 4 hitting theaters this week, Lionsgate put out this nice little collection, which is the book in Chapter 3 that he pulls at the library, I believe.
Yes.
This is the one he beats that guy up with.
Yes,
right?
that big, tall guy.
Yeah, where he opens it up and it's cut out. It's
got the picture of his wife.
It's actually got this book. This book actually has this. It's a Latin book. It's actually written in Latin or Russian or whatever this. I think it's Russian actually. It's written in Russian or whatever. But if you turn the page, like, there's the cutout. Now in the movie, it was a picture of his wife. There was a gun and some coins. This actually has 4K steelbooks of John Wick Chapter 1, 2, and 3.
Nice.
As well as some little photo postcards. So this is a cool little collection that's out now from Lionsgate. If you either don't have the John Wick films or you want to get them in 4K in its full displayable set, you get this little book right here. All right. So that being said, before we talk about John Wick Chapter 4, do you have because these movies work as one long continuous story technically?
It is one long.
But do you have one film that of the 3 previous ones that you think you liked more than the next?
I kind of dig. Oh gosh. Part 2 is the one with the Italian guy. Part 3 is which one? Is now everyone's after
Halle Berry and the dogs.
And everyone's after him in the world. I kind of like part 2. Part 1, it kind of he gets dragged back in, but part 2 he really gets pulled back in, even though he's like, I don't want to do this. And then it begins the series of double crosses. The guy calls in a marker, he goes, and then he's like, well, I can't just let you kill so and so and not do anything. So he double crossed him.
It's not double crosses at that point, because after that the events of the second one, it's no longer double crosses. At that point, it's because of his actions at the end of the second one becomes.
No, but I'm saying during part 2, the Italian dude.
It's only one double cross,
I guess, but he gets double crossed.
It's him and then he double crosses him.
I don't know. I like them all. I like number 3 too, because Halle Berry's there.
She is cool. I was not looking forward to seeing her in that movie, not because I dislike her. I was just like, oh, great. That didn't really feel like it added anything, but she's actually really cool. The use of the dogs. And my biggest beef with this franchise at this point was the ditching of some characters and aspects, predominantly like John Leguizamo, who was a major player in the first movie, and then a little smaller player in the second movie, and then we just pretend he doesn't exist anymore. And I think there were some missed opportunities that I don't know why they didn't want to keep using them. I know they got bigger with the globe trotting and trying to expand the universe outside of, because the first movie is very small. It's outside of the Continental. The movie is really just this crime organization, right?
Yeah.
But then the next ones we start expanding into different ones, and then new Continentals, and then different people around the world, and so we've made it an international, global thing. So it obviously they weren't going to be able to use everyone all the time, but so I'm kind of with you. I like kind of all of them. I love the first one still the most, I think, of that first 3.
Yeah.
But I think it's because it was so unexpected. It's still, there's that raw anger still from him in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like he has it all the way through. But I do love them. These are movies I can watch nonstop.
I agree.
So we dive into the fourth one, and one thing that's really hard to do with any kind of a franchise, no matter how good the idea is and the movies you love, is to consistently make a movie that's more entertaining than the last originals.
One.
And in this case, there are arguments probably with the second one and the third one that you could say, well, they're not as good as the first one, but they do step up the action. They do step up the choreography. They step up the world building. And I think so far they've steadily gotten better on one way or another one. So I was really concerned with the fourth one. Just because, can we keep doing this? Nobody rarely gets past the second movie and maintains that thing. And then we found out that the third movie is almost 3 hours. The fourth movie is almost 3 hours long. Can that maintain that kind of a story? And can we deal with that without having a heart attack or stress? But I personally am happy to say that I think the fourth one is the best film in the entire franchise, and also might easily be one of the best action movies ever made. Definitely best action movie made this year, but we're also only in March.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on the fourth one?
I think this is the best movie ever in the whole entire world.
In the whole entire world?
Yes. Okay, maybe not, but right now at this moment, I'm still on a John Wick Chapter 4 high. It is, to me, the best of all of them.
I agree.
And it is, I think, at the moment for me, the best action movie, and I just love it so much. Like, I will watch this over and over.
And I will say, and I've had this discussion with a couple of people, and they're not wrong. I think the other thing that made the first one so amazing is that it was a normal guy.
Yeah.
But we were building his story, and so, but his beatings and his suffering and through that first movie were still believable on a certain level. It has gotten a little bit over the top as it's gone on. Yes. And it's got a little bit like, okay, this guy should have died a long time ago, but that's part of the legacy of the Baba Yaga thing that they're building. And also, that's what we want. People keep clamoring for more. Like they're talking about like this film, without saying how it is a good cap to the story we've been dealing with for 4 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it could continue or it could stop here and be a good ending.
Yeah.
And the director and Keanu have both said that even though they announced John Wick Chapter 5, that they were kind of done with it right now. And literally today after the box office, because it is the highest grossing one in the franchise so far, even despite being 3 hours, are already saying that we want to stay in the John Wick business.
It's the best. Yes.
We do have a spinoff film and a spinoff TV series coming, so we're going to get to expand with Ballerina, which Keanu Reeves is supposed to make an appearance in with Ana de Armas, and they're going to have the Continental TV series, which is a prequel of Winston and Sharon when they're younger, building the Continental, and of course then we lost Lance Reddick, who plays Sharon.
Poor sweet, but I mean they're going to be younger versions of them.
They're not
so
them,
but still,
they probably would have had some
so
sort of a
sad
shot in the film.
And I was in such disbelief because we just saw him in the movie, babe.
I know, it was literally like days before the movie opened.
Because we had already seen it, a few weeks early, and I'm just like, no, we just saw him, dude.
One thing I want to applaud this franchise is it could have still carried on with just Keanu Reeves, and it could have had some random things, but they didn't need to. The stuntmen and stuff that work on this movie are amazing as it is, so they could have just kept going with that. But each film they've brought in some various martial arts icons. Well, really, there's between 3 and 4. The second one, not so much, but they brought in Common and some other stuff. But like in 3, you're bringing in, well, no, 2, I think brought in Tiger Chin.
I love me some Tiger Chin.
But you won't know it if you didn't know who Tiger Chin is.
Well, you should know.
In the third one, they brought in Mark Costos. They brought in the guys from the Raid. Started kind of stepping up. And then this one, total punch in the forehead. They brought in Donnie Yen, Marco Zarrar, Scott Adkins, like these martial arts icons that some people may not know. And can I just say, I'm so happy. Scott Adkins is everywhere right now.
Oh, I'm glad.
He's getting so much. If you don't know who Scott Adkins is, first of all, you've obviously never watched our show because I talk about him a lot.
Loves him.
He is the most underrated martial arts actor out there.
And he's super nice.
He's a super nice guy. He's been in big budget stuff like Doctor Strange, obviously John Wick Chapter 4. But he's also been in headlines, a lot of his own martial arts with the Undisputed films, the Ninja films, a whole bunch of different stuff. And he was a stuntman behind the scenes. He actually played the very first Deadpool in Wolverine Origins. He did all the fight work for Ryan Reynolds. So he's been around doing a lot of stuff. And so he's getting all this. It's funny because he's in a fat suit in the movie, which had me so pissed. I don't know if you remember, I was so mad when they released the poster. I'm like, oh my God, they better not have Scott Adkins just sitting in a fat suit. It would have been a great character, but I'm like, but it didn't have, I take that back. It had the better impact I think it would have had him playing that type of character, because of all the people in this movie, Scott Adkins is in the best shape of any of them. He's this guy.
Even the big guy?
Zarrar, yeah, because just in terms of visual, Zarrar's in great shape, don't get me wrong, but Adkins is built like an action figure. He looks like he should be in the Marvel Universe with Thor and all them, and he's like that all the time, and not just preparing for the movies. And to put him in a fat suit, it got a better response, I think, from the people who they just see this fat guy running. The next thing you know, he's spin kicking people in the face.
His kicks were still beautiful, by the way.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Knowing who he is and seeing him, all I could do is that entire. It's one of the best scenes of the movie. It's being hailed as one of the best scenes of the movie too.
Good.
It's only one scene of the movie, but it's got a big action sequence in it. But he's funny to watch. It's cool to watch. It's impressive to see him move in the fat suit. But I was on the edge of my seat, so come on, you better fight. Don't y'all waste use of him.
Did you see that beautiful side kick? I was like, oh, that's so pretty.
And to bring in, Marco Zarrar, who's from The Redeemer. He's been, what was that? He was in Machete Kills. He's done a bunch of his own stuff.
And he's Latino.
Yes, he's from Spain.
That's all that matters.
You have Hiroyuki Sanada.
He's from Chile, baby.
Oh, Chile, yeah, sorry.
Hiroyuki Sanada, I
great
love
swordsman, martial artist. And of course,
so
everybody knows Donnie Yen, who plays blind again. But he's so well. They did such a great job with his blindness too.
Yeah,
because he's not like the blind guy and Chirrut Imwe in Star Wars, who was reacted based on his Force beliefs, so he didn't have to do all the blind things. He just was blind. In this movie, the guy's legitimately blind, so he's having to feel and touch, and he does this one cool
but
movie.
It's so smart.
It's a loose spoiler, but it's not really. It's just part of an action sequence where he slams these things on the wall, which I thought were going to be explosives.
Me too.
And they were door chimes. So he could hear people as they walk by, like ding, and he knew where they were at, and he would start smacking people.
It was awesome. I thought it was such a great use of everything. I'm looking up the Japanese Action Club.
Action Club?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
I'm looking it up.
For what?
Because that's where Hiroyuki Sanada trained.
Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yes, I already read.
And then Ninja School. Special Ninja School.
Sorry. He was. I think he was a protege to Sonny Chiba.
Yeah, y'all. There are sumo wrestlers in this. Those guys were awesome too. They were fun. I feel like they were brothers.
It is a nonstop. I mean, of the almost 3 hours, it was probably 30 minutes of dialogue. And maybe 40 minutes.
I mean, yeah.
The rest of the movie is non-stop action of people awesome. Being run over, people being shot, people being beaten.
My favorite thing in the whole world.
My God, I would have thought she was going to have a heart attack because there's a whole sequence
in guys.
What is that thing called?
The Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah, which is the big circle in Rome.
It's in Paris.
Paris. The big circle, and they're fighting
it's a
gladiator,
so they're driving, and then they're driving the wrong direction.
People
and
just
Paris
run over
is
nonstop.
rude, so they were just honking. They weren't going to stop. There's people fighting in the middle of the road. People don't stop.
I'm surprised this movie didn't stress you out.
I was a little stressed on high alert, but I love John Wick so much, and I believe in what he's doing that I was there for it. But and that scene was very stressful for me because the cars were going the wrong direction, and I was a little stressed. I'm going to give you that.
One of the things I was really surprised by the film too is being the almost 3 hour runtime. I honestly thought that it was going to open with kind of a longer montage of the recovery from the previous film, and it doesn't. It's already we've already jumped that time, and he's already kind of healed up, and he's been training, and he's getting himself back to it, and now he's going to head out. Was I right? Are you still looking at it? Or are you looking at something else?
No, I'm looking at something else.
Sorry, I was asking if I was right about what I said.
Yes, you're right.
Oh, I was. Wow.
Let's just go with it.
Anyway, but so it doesn't waste no time. It dives right in. You get some of these other characters have been running around. You get them used back up. There's some interesting lore with even Donnie Yen's character is not just another assassin running around. There's a storyline with him.
Well, and I think what I like of all of the, even everyone in all the other movies is they're like John, and he's like so and so. Like they all know each other. And at some point, maybe they weren't friends, but they had a respect
for you can tell that
each other as assassins.
Even in the clip that keeps being played on all the show circuit, which is a clip between John Wick and Kane, which is Donnie Yen's character.
Kane.
It shows that they were obviously already friends.
They were friends.
Because he's like, they gave you my name, and he goes, yes. He's like, I'm sorry, and he goes, me too. And you can tell that they don't want this to happen, but they don't have a choice.
And he understood. He's like, I'm sorry your wife died. And he's like, and I'm sorry for your daughter, because he's like, I'm not gonna die. Yeah. You're gonna die, and then your daughter's gonna be like, So they're very much aware. And all of them are. And I thought it was really interesting. And I think the cool thing about this whole universe is that you never know who is one of the assassins.
It does get a little ridiculous at times.
It does.
When everybody in the park is an assassin, they're
all looking at each other.
The second one, I think it is.
Yes, where everyone gets a thing and like, ooh.
He stops and everybody
10 minutes,
stops.
8 minutes,
And everybody keeps going okay, really, there's no other person here that's not an assassin. I envision the scene that we don't see is they have their crew that runs around and say, okay, please stop. We have an assassin thing happening here. I need you to stay out here. We're going to do a flash mob. Stay over here.
Yeah, right.
So
who knows?
We were both also very excited that the nunchaku got a good prop.
Yes.
Because you don't have enough people to use nunchaku in a proper way. Two, in the long term.
He was like,
it's usually one or two strikes, then they get knocked out of their hands, or they drop them, or they don't know how to use them.
Yes.
And not only did he get to just pummel people with them, he also did some spinning to show that he had some skill.
He actually looks like he trained in it a little.
Yeah, but it wasn't a lot of flash and trash. That's the other thing I really love. As much as there's really well choreographed and technical elements to the fighting, there's a lot of just brutality. of people just getting punched over and over and over. And like there's a scene in the trailer you see with an Nunchuck where he slams his guy's head on his table and then he just circle strikes his head over and over and over. And it's like,
that's
not
would
skill.
Do.
That's just pick up a weapon and start beating them with it.
Sorry, I'm answering my mother.
You don't talk to your mother.
You always answer your mother.
I don't. I always say decline.
Anyways, I think it's the greatest movie ever. Is what I just told you.
It is a great
really
movie.
Good.
Not only is it a great entry, there's, like I said, I stand by it. It is one of the greatest action movies. I don't know if I would say it is one of the greatest martial arts flicks, although it is up there because it's not straight hardcore martial arts. It is more guns and stuff like that than it is martial arts. But as we all know how these movies work, they are infused together. Yeah. So I would classify it in both genres. I think Ip Man probably sticks up there in the Raid or a little on the higher level of just straight. But the Raid is like this too, where it's a mix of guns and martial arts and whatnot. So
yeah,
but it is, and this is another movie that is a prime example of why the stunt should be recognized at the Oscars.
I agree,
because this movie should be getting all kinds of praise across the board of the work, because the work that goes in to make a movie like this. And the amount of people that probably got hurt and dealing with it, and Keanu Reeves doing all of his own stunts. And I was reading an article with Adkins talking about, a lot of people have been really talking to him about him having a fight in the fat suit and how hard it was. And he said it was a cooling suit. He had to go over and plug into the wall, and then it sent the cold water through the whole suit. But he was like, in between takes, Keanu Reeves would go and get into cryo chambers.
Oh, he's probably got to be sore.
He said he's just a giant bruise. And hurt, and he goes, and he probably has injuries from the previous films.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he's got to be feel like a giant bruise.
But he said he never complains, never says anything. He just keeps going and says, "Let's do it again." And he was having Scott Adkins come to the cryo thing with him, and then he's known for giving all the stuntmen Rolexes at the end of shootings.
That's
and
sweet.
So he
seems like such a nice person.
Yeah,
such a good guy.
So it's a crazy, insane movie. It doesn't feel 3 hours at all.
Not at all.
I
made it through the whole thing.
When that movie was over, I was just like,
for sure,
tired watching that movie.
I was just like, I need to use the bathroom.
And believe it or not, there is an after credit sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's twofold. It could be a sign of something they could do in the future, or it could just be an exclamation point to cap off something that happened earlier in the film. So if they don't do anything with it, it works either way for me.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and it would make more sense if I could explain it, but I can't because that'd be a spoiler. And I don't want to do that.
No spoilers.
I would like to say, I'm glad that we also got. I think this is our third variation of the Continental we got to see.
Yes.
This time it's in Japan.
Yeah, it's Continental.
So you had your first one, then the second one was in France.
Paris.
Yeah, because that had. Franco Nero was the head of there.
Yeah.
And then we have the one in Japan that Hirosaki Sanada is the head of the Continental. And so I like that we get to see this. So there's so many Continentals we can just visit still.
Yeah, all over the world. Yeah, who knows?
Was one of those the Continental in the
one that what's her name was running?
Halle Berry?
Halle Berry was running the one.
Was she running one?
Yeah, that's
okay. I didn't realize that's what I guess I didn't catch.
She was running the Continental there.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're wondering if there's going to be a part 5, right now it's up in the air. It was announced, but they have said that probably not. But with the movie doing as well as it is, the way this movie ends, it has that stamp of it's over, but also has the air of Baba Yaga mystery that you could still do whatever you wanted. So
I think my favorite thing too was in part 2 where you see the pencil.
Oh, after the whole legend of the pencil's built up.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought it's funny. It keeps coming back with the pencil and people talking about the pencil all the time. I think in this movie they even talk about the pencil. So anyway, but there's some great visual shots and creativity and stuff. I think I'd like to ask you, without obviously we're not going to spoil it.
Spoilers.
Do you have a favorite action sequence in the film? There's a ton of them to pick from.
I think I do in this one or just this one.
Just this one.
I don't know if I want the Arc de Triomphe with all the cars. I think too, one that stands out is the 300 stairs to the sacred dome, which is real. And I would never do that. I would go the other way.
I would do it now just because we're like, well, if those guys can work on fighting up and down that staircase, we can.
But I think because where it comes in terms of timeline of the movie and everything else that's happened, and you go up and you're fighting down, and you're going up and you're fighting down. To me, that was just an amazing moment because it literally is 300 stairs. I've seen it. We were down at the bottom when our tour, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But people do it as a pilgrimage to walk up to the sacred dome, and that's
Yeah.
kind of your sacrifice before you get to the dome. So I'm just like, no, thank you. But I thought that was such a great
It's
scene.
an entire fight
It's like
sequence because he has to
nonstop.
make it to the top and get knocked back down and back up, and it also offers up one of the best moments of the film for me too, where you see
here it is.
people working together on that previously didn't work together that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to give big props to Marco Zerrara. He's not getting enough props and press and stuff. And he's kind of the main henchman to the bad guy in the film. They're all really bad guys. But you know what I mean?
But still.
Is it the antagonist or protagonist?
The bad guy?
Yeah.
Antagonist.
It's his kind of right-hand man. And he gets tons of fights and tons of stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not seeing a lot of press about him. But what I love is every interview I've seen with Scott Adkins.
It is the most beautiful temple.
We're not doing buildings right now.
I'm back to
every interview I've seen Scott Adkins talk about that, like, oh, you're in this great movie and these action icons with Hiyaka Sanada and you and Donnie Yen, and every one of them he goes, Marco Zerrara.
Yes,
he's
you.
pointing him out, and it's not because he's.
Don't forget him.
They're purposely forgetting him.
He is so big, by the way.
Big.
He shows up and he's super big, and then he was hablando español, and I'm hey.
And he has this great movie called The Redeemer.
I mean, he would be like this big to me.
Yeah, he's such a sweet guy. I've interviewed him a couple times, and he has this movie called The Redeemer that if you check out, if you look at the cover out of the box, there's a quote from me on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a new movie coming out called The Fist of the Condor.
Yes,
and it's going to be a Hayya original.
It's on Hayya.
It's not yet, but it will be. We'll be talking about it.
So
probably
excited.
In the next week or so. But yeah, he gets a lot of great fight sequences as well. The upside to this kind of movie and the person making the movie being a stunt person, because these guys came from being stuntmen. So you might not know this, but the guy that directed this one, this is Chad Stahelski. He co-directed the first one with David Lettich.
Okay.
Right? David Lettich left the John Wick franchise and ended up doing Deadpool 2 and Hobbs and Shaw, and
I see.
He's been doing
Blonde. Lots of other action things.
Yeah. But Chad Stahelski has directed all 4 of them.
Okay.
These were also their first movies they ever directed.
Oh wow!
But they were stunt people.
My.
He's been in this business so long. He was the person that stood in for Brandon Lee and finished A Crow.
Oh.
He was a stunt double.
But you know what? I think that's why the movies are so good and with the action scene, because you're getting a stunt person to film it in a really good perspective to make it look good because they know.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
And he met Keanu Reeves. He was also did stunt work on The Matrix. So that's where they met both of them. I believe both those guys were on The Matrix.
Nice.
And then they might have helped him with The Man of Tai Chi, which is a movie Keanu Reeves directed with Tiger Chin starring.
Tiger Chin.
You don't even know who Tiger Chin is. You just like saying
I love Tiger Chin. Let's go find Tiger Chin.
But
I do know Tiger.
If you want to see a good Tiger Chin movie, watch this movie called Triple Threat. It's Tiger Chin, Tony Jaa, Iko Uwais, Michael Jai White.
He was in The Matrix.
And Scott Adkins.
It says Matrix.
Yes, I believe he was the fight double for the Keyman guy.
Okay, I know Tiger Chin.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's this guy. Okay.
He was which guy?
That's him right there, right?
But that's not The Matrix.
No, but I'm just saying that's.
Yeah, I know who he is.
I know who Tiger Chin is.
You don't
Master
know
of Tai Chi, Crouching Tiger, Matrix, John Wick.
Anyway, and he's a little dude too.
Yeah.
So a lot of times he has this weird little chili bowl that I don't like. Yeah. It's like, come on, Tiger Chin, fix your hair. Anyway, John Wick Chapter 4 is in theaters right now. It's blowing up the box office. It's already going to be massive. It's the highest grossing film in the franchise so far, and it is all kinds of badass.
It's amazing.
It is worth. It should be nominated for an Oscar next year.
It should. Let's start that right now.
For badassery, it's got a deep story. Did you cry at all? Because there are some heartfelt stuff.
I did with the daughter and the father story. I'm not going to tell you who, and that's vague enough that you won't know.
And I like Clancy Brown showed up too.
Yeah,
I love Clancy Brown. He's another one I get to interview. He's such a nice guy.
Like, what has he been doing?
Clancy Brown is the one I told you that when I interviewed him, he goes, "And what is Hollywood matrimony?" And I told him, I said, "It's a website me and my wife do reviewing movies." And he goes, "Oh, that is super clever." He goes, "That's awesome." Yeah. So Clancy Brown liked that idea.
Hey.
He's also the voice of Lex Luthor in the Superman the Animated Series and been in everything else you can think of.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's SpongeBob.
Anyway, he's got a great little character in it. And
SpongeBob, because you know why?
He's Mr. Krabs.
He's Mr. Krabs.
That's right. Anyway.
I like that's his big claim right now.
And please, this is not a franchise you can watch whatever movie you want. You need to watch all of them. Do not go see John Wick Chapter 4. Because you will have no idea why any of this is happening.
Correct. Bless you. The Baba Yaga.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Baba Yaga.
Anyway, check out John Wick Chapter 4 in theaters now, and rest in peace to Lance Reddick. Nothing is more sad to watch them on the red carpet and see Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves crying while they're talking. You see the big tough guys, or if watch a movie with them kicking ass and doing all this stuff, and then have them crying about what's losing a person.
It is sad.
So
sad.
If anybody doesn't know who Lance Reddick is outside of that, he was The Wire, and he's been in a lot of
Alias.
stuff too. Yeah, Alias. He's been in a ton of
Bosch.
stuff as well. So anyway.
All right.
Was that it?
We're over to you,
we're over to
sir.
that already? All
yes.
right. This week's not, I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming out, but the movie Plane with Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter is coming out. We talked about that.
That was a good one.
Chucky Season 2 is hitting Blu-ray and DVD.
That's you right there.
That show is so fun. That's such a great show. The new version of All Quiet on the Western Front that got nominated for a bunch of Oscars and stuff is getting the 4K Blu-ray treatment. Dead Silence is getting the 4K treatment.
Yes! Beware the stare of Mary Shaw. She had no children, only dolls.
I know I should have saved that for the last.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I hope we get it.
Well, Shout Factory is putting it out, so I have requested it. The movie Wanted, which is based on the comic book with Angelina Jolie.
Oh, with the gun
James
thing?
McAvoy and Morgan Freeman throwing the bullets. It's getting a 4K treatment. Exorcist 3 is also coming out through Shout Factory.
Shout!
Getting a 4K treatment.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Have you not?
I think I've only seen the first one. I wasn't allowed to watch any of those things until I was married.
If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I watched it, but if I remember correctly, the third one is connected more towards the original.
The original one.
But I don't remember. I think
we'll have to go watch all of those. I was not allowed to watch it.
Duck Dodgers, the complete series, is getting the Blu-ray treatment.
Okay.
And Sidekicks, the Chuck Norris movie.
Oh, nice.
With the late, great Jonathan Brandis. Rest in peace. Joe Piscopo is getting a new release. And the new DC Comics animated feature, Batman Doom, that comes to Gotham, is coming out. And that's what's happening on that.
All right. Coming out at the theater or on the line. Coming out on Tuesday on video demand and digital, Batman the Doom that came to Gotham.
That's the one I just said.
Okay, well, it's also coming on the line on video demand. So if you wanted to buy it, you can. Also coming out on the line, a movie called Interface. It's this girl.
It's your face.
Whose father dies in a car accident, and her mom, after that, health just kind of goes downhill, and she ends up in a coma. On one of her trips to visit her mother, she finds some experimental process or equipment of how to revive people from coma, and it basically leads us into a multiverse. So this is getting a little out there, where you could go into a multiverse and steal someone else's energy to put them into your life to wake you up from a coma. So she goes on this weird multiverse trip to try to bring her mother back. We'll see how that goes. Video demand and digital, The Quest for Tom Sawyer's Gold. I didn't know he had a hidden treasure, but these people are going to go find it.
It's because it's hidden. That's why you didn't know.
Also on the line, a movie called Adeline. It's this lady who's dealing with postpartum depression, and weird things start happening, but you don't know if it's actually her depression or if it's real crazy things are happening, and she feels like someone is after her and her child. So we don't really know. So it's going to be interesting. Coming out Friday in theaters, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. We will be talking about that one. Also in theaters, I want us to go see this one. It's the movie A Good Person. It's the one with Morgan Freeman and Florence Pugh and Molly Shannon and all these other people. And it's the one where this lady and her friend are in an accident, and one of them dies and the other feels really responsible, but it's all intertwined because they're actually family of some ways. And so it's her, and Morgan Freeman is the father of the girl that passed away, and they're all each dealing with the loss. Also coming out in theaters, 1001. That's a series coming. Okay, this one was a little bit weird. It's about a mother and son that sent out there to go find a new life in New York, and one has a secret that they decide they're going to do one last crime thing together, and then they'll be free. I don't know, guys. I'm just trying to read through this. Okay, coming to Disney Plus, Prom Pact. It's about best friends at the proms, but it's 80s themed, so I'm all about this. So we'll see how this comes out. Then coming to Netflix, Murder Mystery 2. So excited. This is part 2 of that Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston movie where they were on that boat murder mystery thing, and it was actually a murder mystery. This is going to be fun. This I'm very confused about. There's another Bruce Willis movie. Hey. There's another Bruce Willis coming out on Video Demand Digital. It's called Assassin. I thought we were done with all of his movies.
I think he had a lot of stuff in the can that just either was delayed or hasn't come out yet.
Okay. He's leading a military operation, but one of the weapons they have is some sort of a neuro microchip that allows you to inhabit the body of a different agent to go on covert missions. So I don't know how this is going to work.
Some behind the scenes
agent or something. Which is fine. Also coming out, Apple TV Plus, the movie Tetris.
We'll be talking about
with Taron Egerton, who is Hooted Eggsy.
Yeah.
And or maybe you saw him in the movie of Tell me.
No, this is funnier watching you figure it out.
Never mind.
The Elton John movie.
Elton John movie, thank you.
Jesus Christ.
So I think that's going to be cool. Also coming out to Netflix, Black Clover, Sword of the Wizard King. No idea. I'm assuming it's magic, and yeah, there's a Wizard King.
We'll be talking about that one.
This?
Yes.
Smoking causes coughing.
It's from the director of Rubber.
Oh, I'm all about that. Also,
did you watch the one they did with the big gigantic fly?
Yeah. No, you just told me about it.
That was another movie he did too.
That seems really
He also did Wrong Cops, but I don't think you saw
Coming out on Netflix, Kill Boksoon. Boksoon is leading a double life. She's both a mother and a professional killer.
Don't kill Batu. That's a Disney.
Coming out to Shudder. We have a Shudder original this week, The Unheard. After going into an experimental procedure to repair her hearing, she becomes, this lady starts to hear auditory hallucinations of things that aren't there. Or are they? And I think that's all coming out. At least there's options. If you don't want to go to the theater, there's Netflix things, there's Shudder things, Disney Plus, Apple TV. There's all sorts of options for movies this week. I hope you check it out.
This is movie related, but not really. It's really actor related. So check this out. If you have to look on his Instagram, this is Jeremy Renner. It's an anti-gravity treadmill, so he can train walking and stuff. So I guess his legs probably aren't very strong yet. I don't think it's going.
That was a crazy accident.
Yeah. So if you don't know, Jeremy Renner was run over by oh, here it is. We're going to play it on the show even though nobody can see it. So I guess it holds him up.
Yeah. So
it takes the pressure off his legs. Another couple of times so my body can recover.
Cool.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
He was run over by a snowcat plow thing that ran over and broke like 36 bones in his body.
Crazy.
And if you want to feel really old, Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, is having his first child.
What?
Yep.
Is he married? And I didn't know. I guess I never paid attention. He has a lady. He's got a lady friend.
Girlfriend. It's his girlfriend. They did it out of wedlock.
Oh my goodness.
It's his girlfriend of over 10 years.
Oh, well, at this point, they're married. Do they have common law in England?
I don't know.
Oh, well. Okay, guys.
And big congratulations to my son who got married.
He did get married, who also had a child out of wedlock.
That's why I brought it up.
But that
they were adults. It was not teen pregnancies.
Yeah, no.
But they got married at a fun little service. This young lady performed the service. Yeah. And I was just there to look pretty like this.
Yes, you did. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Check out our website, Hollywood Matrimony. Make sure you go like, subscribe, share. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Hive.
You have hives?
Yes, you do.
Join us next week for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live right here on Sunday where we'll be discussing all kinds of fun nonsense.
All right, friends. We'll see you next week.
Peace out, dogs.
Bye.